Good evening. Welcome to this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show. My name is Leon Jones. This evening's topic, I'm going to talk about the workplace and how it can cause mental illnesses. Now, the reason why I have to bring up the workplace, it's because over the past 22 to 25 years, the dynamics of the workplace and workforce has changed. And I'm talking about within regards to culture. Because with today's workforce, it's not about production, it's about metrics. It's about complying to company policies, and that's the job of management. Now, what makes the workplace a poor environment is the type of management that you must deal with. You have bosses who have the Napoleon syndrome because they're short, dumpy, fat, and they want to utilize their power because they feel inferior. But when they have a job title, it makes them feel superior, knowing that they have the control over all their employees. And what they do, they make the workplace very hostile. Also, you have a lot of backstabbing and politics that goes on at work. A lot of cliques. The workplace is really a joke. It's not a place that will get a lot of work done. They fake it to make it. But in the long run, the workplace is just one big zoo for the most part, especially if you work in the corporate sector. Because before the corporate sector became of any importance, it was the manufacturing sector that really ran this country. And then that all went away when a NAFTA agreement was signed when Bill Clinton became president in the 1990s. And like I said, once the 1990s took effect, this is when you saw the workplace culture change, and the workplace had gotten more into the political correct type of culture by making people feel good even if they weren't doing a good job. Now, that being said, almost half of long-term sickness from work is due to mental health problems. These impact more heavily on your ability to work than any other illness. However, with the right support, people with mental health problems can thrive in a workplace and enjoy the same opportunities as their colleagues who don't have mental health issues. Now, when it comes to any type of mental health, there is a stigma about it. Although it is improving, there's still a lot of stigmas around mental health problems and stereotypes that people with mental health problems are absolutely crazy. That's not true. If they're treated properly, they can function in a real world just like somebody who doesn't have a mental health illness. Now, many people with mental health issues still feel discriminated because of their illnesses, which can make them feel worse, and it also will lower their self-esteem, resulting in making it harder for people with mental health illnesses to recover. The social stigma is a concern for people off work with a mental health problem. Why? Because there is a fear of bullying or social exclusion that can delay their return or even prevent them from returning to work when they have taken a leave of absence due to a mental health illness. Now, mental health problems affect the way you think, feel, and behave. They range from minor, which I'm talking about moods now, which is a low mood, to the more severe, which includes some of the disorders that I have presented in previous videos, such as bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, and or psychosis. And it can appear suddenly or gradually over time. That's right, mental health issues like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and psychosis can appear suddenly or gradually over time. Now, most work absences involving mental health problems are due to these are always going to come up, and I call them the big three: stress, anxiety, and depression. Now, the causes of these vary, but the problems at home with relationships or your finances can also affect your mood just as much as tasks that you have to do. Your working environment and relationships with your colleagues. So you got to remember that. Sometimes individuals will bring their problems at home to work, and that's going to affect your work environment with how you perform on your job and how you relate to your colleagues. So, when you have any mental health issue, it's best to try to get help. Don't let it linger because in the long run, it's going to become worse. Now, when it comes to stress at work, managing stress in any workplace is important to anyone's overall health. So pressure at work can be motivating. However, when it becomes excessive, it can eventually lead to work-related stress. Now, other causes of work-related stress include job uncertainties. Certainly, you have to understand that the market is gradually changing. It's going from a more people-oriented market to an automated market. So job security is very uncertain. Then you have the politics in the office, the cliques in the office. So what comes out of that? Work relationship problems. There are also organizational changes, particularly now that we have a lot of technology involved. So individuals are going to have stress related issues because of organizational change. Why? Because your job might be eliminated or you may have to relocate, and that causes a lot of stress on a person. Poor support. You might not have good management who is going to support your needs. Demands, either too much or too little. Well, when you have a workforce that is steadily shrinking, what happens? You have less people who are doing more work, which puts even more pressure to perform in a work environment that's basically unstable, and it can be very hostile. Lack of control. Sometimes management does not have control over the objectives that have been given to them from the executive management or the administration. Now, if you are feeling overwhelmed and unable to cope, spotting the early signs of stress-related illnesses like anxiety, depression, and of course, stress is a stress-related illness as well. Well, here's what you could do to prevent your early signs of work-related stress to become a major problem. Well, you have to have changes to your normal behavior, and these might be very silly, but they have an impact on your health. And I'm talking about eating better and having better sleep habits. Most of us go to bed too late. You should have 6 to 8 hours of sleep, and you should get up and go to bed at the same time every day and night. Also, feeling depressed or down and becoming increasingly emotional, becoming withdrawn, nervous, and of course demotivated, feeling confused and disappointed with yourself. Well, you have a low self-esteem, so you want to become more confident in who you are. Also, it is important for everybody to speak about how they're feeling. Talking to your employer and colleagues openly about your feelings can help tackle some of the causes, and it can prevent you from feeling like you are isolated and out of control. Now, Having high forms of anxiety can have a major impact on your ability to work. Anxiety takes many forms, from general anxiety to anxiety triggered by a particular situation or a phobia. Those who experience anxiety may seem unusually worried or fearful in most situations, making excuses to not socialize or attend meetings are common signs. Now, other signs of anxiety include, of course, you've heard these before if you've been viewing my channel: panic attacks, relentlessness, that's right, relentlessness, and becoming increasingly irritable, and that's a mood disorder, difficulty concentrating or meeting deadlines, a sense of dread and fear. How many of us really dread going to work? Well, with today's workforce, that is very common. Facing up to anxiety and how it makes you feel can be the first step in breaking the cycle of fear and insecurity. Feeling relaxed and able to talk about your anxieties to your friends, family, and colleagues can help you take back control, and it can help you deal with your anxiety before it becomes unmanageable. Now, panic attacks are basically a sign of anxiety and are common in the workplace, causing an overwhelming sense of fear and apprehension. Left unmanaged, panic attacks can become more frequent and severe, leaving you unable to work, which you're going to be stressed if you aren't working, because you're going to have bills that are going to pile up and you're going to need finances to help take care of those bills, like your mortgage and your car payment. Also, when it comes to panic attacks, they can be treated effectively through a combination of therapy and medication. Now, there are also several self-help techniques that you can use to treat the symptoms yourself. Now, when it comes to depression, as human beings, we're going to feel sad from time to time, but that is normal. But if these feelings continue for more than a couple of weeks and they become very, very bad, they start to affect your everyday life, then you need to seek help. Now, depression can develop slowly and is usually caused by more than one thing. With work, a contributing factor that's due to, and this is very common, you're going to get depressed because you can't meet deadlines. You're going to be stressed. But a lot of what's happening at work when it comes to depression and how it develops is because the workload. And I just believe the workload with many companies is much harder today than it was 50, 40, and even 30 years ago. And you can tell because the wage does not match the amount of demands that you're required to meet in today's workforce. Unsociable hours, of course, lack of job security, problems with colleagues, and if you are depressed, you might feel irritable or overly emotional, have low confidence and find it difficult to concentrate, low interest, or you will lose interest and probably you will be unable to deliver your work to meet deadlines. You get tired quickly and you feel disengaged. Now, of course, if you're feeling depressed, sometimes it can be better to take time off to recover rather than make yourself feel worse by struggling when you're actually too ill to work. Now, if you feel well enough to remain at work, talk to your supervisor or someone you trust about how you're feeling. But in order to help yourself with any of these mental issues, having support around you can help lift your mood when you're feeling low. Now, when it comes to mental health support, of course, there are organizations out there all across the world. And what these organizations do, they're really your support to help get you back on track, because the workforce is definitely continuing to change, and for most people, it's going to get worse. Now, my bit of advice is open up your own business, work for yourself. Don't get me wrong, that can be a headache as well. If you don't know how to run your own life, how are you going to run your own business? But if you had to deal with the lesser of two evils, I would rather run my own business, because if it fails, one thing I can do is go back to working a regular job, but I'm going to be in a better position to where I could take the money if my business failed and work for somebody and then invest that money into another business. But of course, this video is not about starting businesses. What I'm trying to tell you is how you can resolve some of these issues of stress, anxiety, and depression in the workplace, because the workplace is not the same as it was 30, 40, and 50 years ago. In fact, there's less loyalty in the workplace today, of course, with the bad management. And some of these managers out here that you work for feel very low themselves, and this is why they are very abusive, and they love to bully their employees because they want to feel important with the job title that they have. They're very insecure, egotistical, and they have a narcissistic behavior, and some of them are schizophrenic as well. That's why you must understand, when you're looking for a job, find out how the work environment is. If you go into a company to interview, one of the first questions you should ask is, what kind of turnover do you have? If the turnover is high, you don't want to work at that place. I don't care how much money you're being offered. But the bottom line, if you want a manageable workplace, don't work at a huge corporation, because it's a lot more bureaucracy, a lot of levels of people that you must go through in order to get decisions made. If you go to a big organization as well, you may get stuck in one position, which that's going to be frustrating. And that could also lead to mental health issues such as stress, depression, and anxiety. Although you'll have a job, you have a dead-end job, and you're not going to be happy either. So my best bet, when you feel yourself in peril or in a hostile work environment, you got to talk to somebody. And usually with most companies, they have outside counselors that you can talk to. And it will behoove you to talk with one, because when a problem lingers, it gets worse, and then it can affect your health. And when I say affect your health, well, it can lead to heart disease, stroke, and this all comes from stress. Again, when it comes to mental illnesses, you're always going to see the triple threat. That's depression, anxiety, and stress. Because those three illnesses can lead to serious health implications. So, my best bet, when you're in a workplace, make sure you know who the counselors are. Even if you don't seem to be crazy, it's always an opportunity for you to meet with the counselors or mental health people outside the organization. Because if you can't function properly at work, it's going to make it very difficult for you to function at home. And what's going to happen, you're going to bring that stress from your work life to your home life, and now you got problems in two places. And the last bit of information, if you're not happy with being in a particular job, look for something else. Because the bottom line, no one else can make you happy but you. So it's best, be smart. work on yourself mentally, psychologically, and physically. Because once you tie all those three items together, you will be able to function properly and live a healthy life. And that's my commentary for this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show for this evening, Thursday, August 10th, 2017. You can tune into the 411 Talk Zone radio show every Saturday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Blog Talk Radio. Guest call-in number is 215-383-5785. If you like my videos, please share and subscribe to the 411 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube so I can continue to give you quality information for educational purposes from a professional and mature perspective. Now, on this channel, I don't engage in debates, controversy, or emotional issues, nor do I participate in drama and or unnecessary bickering because it is counterproductive. It's a waste of time. What I'm here to do is to educate, to give you some insight on how you can apply the information that I have researched on my own and my own personal situations that some of you can relate to. You take that and apply it to the real world, and you use it to your advantage, and it'll help you understand how the real world works. Because if you don't understand how the real world works, what's going to happen? You're going to get anxiety, depression, and stress. And trust me, when you have the triple threat, your life is going to be in peril. You're going to have a roller coaster life. So when you're in the real world, you want the tools. Here at the 411 Talk Zone radio show is a place where you're going to get the information, because the information is realistic but positive. Because when you have knowledge, you have power. And if you have a business, a topic, or a new YouTube channel that you would like for me to discuss on YouTube or Blog Talk Radio, please email me at lej6521@gmail.com. And if you have a comment, please leave all comments in the comment section under the video. But make sure that your comments are pithy. No bloviating, pettifogging, or filibustering, if you wish to opine. Now that's it for this video. Till next time, my name is Leon Jones. Remember, please be gentle and respectful to each other, and have a wonderful and blessed night. Good night.